Hey everybody, and welcome back.
I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
I just want to start out by saying, obviously, I am not a parent myself yet, except to dogs. So obviously my advice is just, it comes from what I've learned growing up with CF and how my parents kind of tackled things. And then also just kind of advice from some friends that I have, and just from being involved in the community, kind of seeing how others cope with CF and what they do, and hearing how their parents have helped them, and like seeing the differences in kind of each parent's strategy. We've had some great conversations happening this week, which is super exciting. So I hope you guys kind of get involved and let me know what you think of my tips, and we'll keep the conversation going. So my first tip that I find is kind of a big thing when I'm talking to a lot of parents now is just the shock of a child being diagnosed, especially if they've never heard of CF. So my advice, I guess, for that parent is to kind of let yourself grieve. It's a shock. It's crazy. Like, you're getting all these statistics thrown at you. Your picture perfect life with a kid has now not necessarily been shattered, but how you picture things and you're excited for them to grow up and grow old, and then you're suddenly hearing that they're diagnosed with a chronic fatal illness. So let yourself grieve and make sure you take care of yourself and your mental health and coping with things. But don't do so in front of your child. If you kind of cope with things with your partner, counselor, clinic, whoever, and make sure that you deal with whatever's happening in your head or whatever questions you have without getting your child involved in that. It prevents them from having to grow up feeling like they're a burden on the family or on you, or that they make your life harder. I can't really even think of a time that my parents ever really got upset in front of me about me having CF, because I've seen some people where they've commented that, I know my parents are stressed out right now financially or emotionally or whatever, and it just kind of adds guilt onto something that you can't really place guilt on anyone for this genetic illness. Number two, I'm just accepting that clinic and your doctors are basically going to become like family, or rather that you should treat them like an extended family member, because that kind of takes away the whole I don't like doctors, hospitals, whatever feelings of things. I remember growing up, I still keep in touch with my pediatric team. I love my dietitian and my physiotherapist and my doctor and my nurses. They were kind of like extended family, like someone like my mom's cousin or something. Like you don't necessarily see every Christmas or every birthday, but when you're going to clinic, I was doing, I think, every 3 months, maybe every 4 months for the most part of my life. They become kind of like involved in your life, and I always enjoy clinic more when they can kind of have an understanding of what's happening in my life outside of CF as well. Obviously, it's no fun to sit in a hospital all day and be poked and prodded and do a bunch of tests and often be told, your lung function's not so great or your weight's down, which was common for me. But not thinking of my doctors and nurses and everyone as this scary authority figure, but rather as kind of a part of my family, made it a lot easier for me. It's a part of your life. There is no getting away from it, so you might as well kind of make the most of it and enjoy it while you can. Next, kind of bridging off of that, is teaching your child responsibility and self-care tips, kind of learning how to own your disease, but it's not owning you. I have CF, but CF is not who I am. you know, growing up with CF and being taught that, I had to take my enzymes. And if I did not take my enzymes, I was going to have to deal with the stomach ache that came with it. Um, Obviously, my parents weren't like, here's a bottle of enzymes, here's how many you take when you eat, good luck, see you later. Like, they'd be reminding me at meals until it kind of just became second nature. So I think teaching your child that responsibility, even at a young age, kind of helps them just own it and not think twice about being the sick kid. Like, I never ever thought of myself as sick growing up, really. It was just my parents treated it as the norm. Um, and like hindsight, I really, really, really thank my parents for that. And I've remember the first few times I kind of like said that out loud to them, and they were like, oh, that's good to hear, because they're like, we had no idea what we were doing. Just the responsibility of, realizing that, yeah, mom and dad will remind me if I'm eating dinner at home to take my enzymes. But if I'm out for dinner with a friend, or we're going to the movies and we're having popcorn and I don't take my enzymes, that's my fault. And I'm going to be sitting in the bathroom for a few hours the next day. So it, like, again, it helped me kind of like own my disease and be like, oh, like enzymes, I can take those, no problem. And then, you had a better day and you felt good and you didn't have to, be kind of pulled down by CF and have like a subpar day because you weren't feeling the greatest. So that's like one of the most crucial things I find is a lot of parents, like, everyone's healthy in the family, their child's diagnosed with CF, and they suddenly are like, oh, my daughter's so sick, or my son is very ill, and they kind of like put them in this bubble. And, the child becomes so aware that they are sick and, there's nothing they can do about that. They're always going to be sick. And meanwhile, like, as the individual with CF, um, I mean, being not as healthy as a normal healthy person, it's hard to explain that. That's our normal. I mean, I didn't know any different. So a good day for me might be the equivalent of a healthy individual's day with a cold. So just, I mean, don't coddle your kid, don't helicopter parent, just don't treat them any different than you would a healthy child. Like, be aware, like cold and flu season. I mean, we had a rule growing up, and all my parents' friends knew it, that, if you were sick, you don't come over to our house because, Tara could get very sick because of that. But that is also kind of common sense, good rule of thumb for any household. So I guess to like end on a positive note, what I like to say to parents, and it probably sounds really backwards and messed up, but just to remember that if your child is recently diagnosed, so we're in 2017 now, almost 2018, this is the best time to be born with CF. The most research has happened. The most medications are coming out. They're targeting the actual gene. Like, even treatment methods have changed so much in the 24 years that I've been around. Even just the fact that, my old compressor used to weigh like 20 pounds and it was portable, but not really portable. And now it's like this tiny little thing that takes like 2 minutes to do your medications, whereas before it was a half hour. So, like, as, disheartening and sad as it is to have a kid diagnosed with, an illness of any kind, really, you're born in the best time for CF. There's so much research, there's a lot of funding, people are living longer, transplant is an option, and it's a good option, and it's working, and they're learning. The medications that are targeting the genes and actually, like, not reversing the issue, but like just helping it work a little better, is prolonging lives. But just to know that, I mean, all of this stuff is happening right now, it's like, oh, I wish I could have been born now. But at the same time, I mean, I'm doing fairly well, all things considered. Just with having been born in 93. So, I mean, you've got almost 25 years on top of that of research and fundraising and studies and collaborating with different countries where there's all these different outcomes and different access to different medications, and it's almost like incredible. I am like such a nerd for studies and medications and being involved in all that stuff. Um, but it really is the best time to have CF. I mean, obviously, the best time is going to be when there's a cure or when we don't even have to worry about it. But so far, like right now, is the best time. So I guess that's like my best advice I could give to parents. Let me know what you guys think, and how you feel about that, and comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel because next week our guest star is myself, and I'm going to let you guys in on more of my life with CF and outside of CF, and kind of just give you a sneak peek into who I am and what I enjoy. And so please stay involved, keep the conversation going, whether it's on my video or any of the other ones posted all week. I love this topic, and I hope to hear from some parents of kids with CF. Please feel free to reach out to us and ask questions, and remember to stay salty.